Hi everyone, I'm Tom Allen, Principal Consultant at Foresite, and this is Foresite Friday. I'd like to welcome you to Foresite Friday. Foresite Friday is where we answer your cybersecurity questions. Today's question, what do I do if my computer gets ransomware? The real question is, how do I keep from my computer getting ransomware? And that's really how we're going to approach this, is how do we stop ransomware from getting on our computers? The first thing you need to do is think about the delivery methods of ransomware. So what are the main ways ransomware gets on your computer? We're going to talk about two. Now, let me caveat this. We are talking about your home personal computer. A business that has many computers, many systems, has a lot more exposure, there's a lot more entry points. Now, you can extrapolate out these points, and they're certainly valid for a business. But just on your home computer, how do I keep from getting ransomware? So the delivery methods that are most prominent, one is through your web browser. So you're out on the internet, cruising around, checking out sites. Inside of these sites, the developers have put scripts. So there's little bits of code that run, and they may make an animation work over here or something fancy over there. The point is, these scripts are there. If they don't do their homework, and if they don't secure that website, cyber criminals can inject code into these websites or inject scripts into them to put malware and ransomware on your computer. And all you're doing is browsing the site. So how do you defend against that? One of the most important ways is keep your browser updated. Now, you might be using Firefox, you might be using Chrome, Microsoft Edge is a good one, Mac OS has Safari, all of those are good. Most of them have different mechanisms for updates, but most of them have automatic updates. So I'm on Firefox, which is my favorite browser. I'll be using Firefox and it'll say, hey, you have to restart Firefox to apply this update, because it's set to automatically let me know, download the update, be ready to install. If you're using Internet Explorer, you've lost already. Stop using Internet Explorer. Stop. Don't use Internet Explorer. Microsoft Edge is fine. Chrome. They call them Chromium-based browsers, just keep them updated, because what'll happen is as the cyber criminals exploit things within these systems, the developers of these systems will discover it and they'll say, okay, how do we patch this? How do we keep this from happening? So while we're focusing on browsers because they are exposed to the internet a lot more than other applications, all your applications, if they have an ability to auto-update, keep them updated, because this happens with operating systems, it happens with Adobe, Java, any application can be exploited. So make sure you patch things, and if they have an option to auto-update, do the auto-update. Just let them update, patch them, restart your computer when you need to, and that will help with the one way of ransomware being delivered to your computer. The second way, most prevalent, is email. They basically send you an email, they get you to click on it, it runs a script or runs an executable in the background that puts ransomware on your computer. What you have to do for that, there's a lot of ways, but we did a Foresite Friday on how do I spot an email phish. Definitely watch that if you have a chance. But the crux of it is be suspicious. If you see emails that have attachments, don't download the attachment unless you know exactly what it is and can verify where it's from. Even if you get emails from a friend or a contact that you know, be suspicious of it, especially if it has an attachment, but even if it doesn't. Because what if their email got compromised and the cyber criminals are using their email account to send you the ransomware? It can happen, it has happened. So just always be suspicious of email. Email is an unverifiable method of communication. So when it comes to your inbox, whoever sent it, your inbox is accepting it. There are spam controls and things like that, but they don't catch enough of it to say that you can trust email. You can't trust email. Be suspicious of it. Make sure you have a good antivirus, anti-malware program. And what do we mean by good? So years ago, all virus programs, antivirus programs, were signature-based. So they had a database of all the known viruses in the world. Someone would write a new code, create a new virus, they'd send it out into the world. It would finally be discovered, and each virus company would then reverse engineer it and put it in the database to prevent it, which left this big period called 0 day. So that's the day from the day the virus goes out into the world till the day your virus company actually figures it out and puts it in your database so that you will reject it. And usually those times were, for the really good antiviruses, were 10 days. The worst ones were 15, 16 days. So you're exposed for that time period. Nowadays, we have what's called next-gen antivirus. And what this does is it doesn't just have the signature. Some of them actually still have a signature database, which is fine, but they also work on behaviors. So when a script gets downloaded in the background of your browser, when you download a file from an email or from a website, it will look at what the behavior that file is trying to do. And if the behavior looks malicious, it'll stop it. This way, if they just change a couple phrases in the coding of the virus and send it out again, and there's no signature for it, you're still going to block it because it's doing the same thing that the bad viruses do. So they're behavioral analytics rather than signature database based. So when you decide on an antivirus product, make sure you do your research, make sure that they have behavior-based ways of stopping these things, and not just signature database. Malwarebytes is an example. Trend Micro has some next-gen abilities. Many of the vendors now are coming out with these behavioral type of engines so that you don't have just the signature database. What do I do if I get ransomware? So if you get ransomware on your computer and your computer is inaccessible, the first thing not to do is pay the ransom. Why do I say that? Because A, you're trusting criminals. So these people illegally encrypted your data. And now you're going to say, well, if I give you money, you'll give it back. Maybe, maybe not. Also, studies have shown that people who pay the ransom get attacked, have return rates that are much higher. So basically, they're going to the well again. Hey, they paid it once. Let me see if I can encrypt their computer again and get paid again. So remember, you're dealing with criminals. So what do you do? Well, you have to be prepared. So if you prepared and you've backed up your critical data and you have it on another device or you have it in the cloud somewhere, then who cares? They encrypted it. It's a pain in the neck. I've got to reload my operating system from scratch. Takes me time, but I haven't lost anything. So how you back up your data matters too, because a lot of people have synchronization set up. So, I have my documents or this folder that synchronizes to a cloud somewhere. Well, obviously, if that gets encrypted and you don't notice in time, all those synchronizations could also get encrypted. There's obviously going to be some type of time frame, could be 30 days, could be 15 days, where you can't go back anymore because the data you've synchronized is encrypted. So it's really good to have, if you have critical, important stuff on your computer that you wouldn't want to lose, it's important to have that stuff on an external hard drive that's not connected to your computer all the time. This is what we call air gap. There's air between it and the actual system holding the data. And that way, if they encrypt your laptop, you've still got it on a backup hard drive that's not connected to your computer, so they can't encrypt that. If you have an air-gapped cloud solution where you have to manually back it up, that's another good way to do it. It doesn't have to be an external hard drive. Just something that's not connected 24/7, 365. Because if it is, they can look for that. Actually, there's been some more advanced ransomware that will try to find the backups, encrypt them first before you even know it's on your computer. So make sure you have backups and make sure they're air-gapped. Again, this is all dependent on the value of the data you have on your computer. If it's stuff you can recreate and you wouldn't really care if you lost it, then don't go crazy spending a ton of money on your backups and on your antivirus and so forth. But If it's data you don't want to lose, you would be sad if you lost. So let's say it's, pictures of your kids when they're 2 or 3 years old that you don't have anywhere else. Then treat that like it's valuable and make sure you back it up. Make sure you have it in multiple places so that should there be a functional error, should there be a ransomware situation, you can always restore it. You can always restore operating systems and applications. That's easy. Like I said, a little bit of a pain in the neck. But whatever you do, don't pay the ransom. So let's sum up. How do you prevent ransomware? Keep your browsers patched, keep your OS patched, keep your applications patched. Don't click on emails. Be suspicious of email. Any email that comes in, be suspicious of it until proven otherwise. Also, make sure you have good antivirus, anti-malware. Oh, and I forgot to mention, you Mac users, don't think you're impervious to this. You're not. If you got ransomware, do not pay the ransom, period. Don't do it. Don't. And finally, make sure you have backups of everything that's important to you and multiple backups and air gap backups. So if you do all these things, no one can tell you 100% sure you're never going to get ransomware. The cyber criminals, they know our defenses and they're constantly trying to get around them, get through them. They adapt to what we do in a defensive way and an offensive way. So, no one can say you'll never get ransomware, but if you do these things, you're much less likely to get it. And if you do get it, you have an answer to it. Thank you for joining us for Foresite Friday. We'll be back next week with another one of your questions. If you'd like to submit a question for Foresite Friday, just send the question to wfh@foresite.com